In today's video, we complete the tubbing process on the Impreza. Randall's going to go through the whole entire process. I'll kind of walk you through the steps. At the end, I'll go over why we did this, kind of what's the goal, what's the plan, everything you need to know about this. I honestly wouldn't have slowed down enough to realize I should have done this without Bucky Elastic. I reached out to him and asked him some other questions about the whole wide body kit, and he mentioned that I should do this. So Bucky, if you're watching, appreciate you. Randall wasting no time on this build. Cutoff wheel on a Dremel tool, a grinder, trailer fenders, trailer fender backs, a TIG welder, some seam sealer, some Bondo, some fiberglass. Absolutely getting this job done with ease. But let's break this down into steps. You're gonna go down to a place called Spec Track. If you're in the Phoenix Valley, if not, you can look it up, find something similar in your area. You're gonna pick up some trailer fenders. And then the goal is to put that trailer fender in the engine bay, kind of mock up how it's going to fit, and then you're going to trim that trailer fender to fit your engine bay. So you might have to cut it shorter, round some things off, smooth some things off with the grinder, cut off wheel, whatever. And then you're going to take some trailer fender backs you're going to need to buy also from them, and that's going to seal it up. Like that piece you just put on the side, that is our trailer fender back. So that'll seal everything up, and then from there you kind of have the basic shape. You create your outline, take a grinder, start cutting away. It's going to take some time. Be patient. You're going to have to pry some things up. Let's just watch Randall see how he gets it done. You guys can take this to your car and do the exact same thing. Randall's been doing this thing where I just walk in and he has Metallica just blasting while he's going to town.
Should come out right here.
So I want to give you guys an idea of what that's like. Give it to her.
A bigger one.
Here we go.
Grinders just suck.
I hate grinding stuff, dude. It's the worst.
The amount of crap it puts everywhere and gets on your skin gets so itchy. Oh. But I'm a fabricator now, so
Yeah, you are.
gotta toughen up. Oh, false alarm.
Still?
Got another one down there.
Randall's got his feet wet with that first one. Now he's going to remove all the suspension, start taking things apart to clear some space so he can get after it on both sides now that he has a game plan. Then we'll lay into some seam sealer here in a little bit, some Bondo. Randall is showing me how not delicate metalwork is. Gotta get after it with the grinders, sanders, hammers. The welding on this project could have definitely been a lot faster with a MIG welder, MIG MIG welder, but Randall used our new TIG welder. We don't technically have a MIG welder right now. So it was kind of a mix of, hey, we have the TIG welder, we finally got that. Randall wants to get better at TIG welding. There's no better way to get better at something than just do it. And even though this took a lot longer than it should have and maybe looks a little bit messier, you can kind of overcompensate with the Bondo work, some metal work, and kind of get it figured out. So this is really good practice. He was enjoying it, knowing that it could be done faster, but it's the only way to get better. And even more so, just making do with what we have. I just made these 2 new flat 4 t-shirts ready for pre-order right now. I'll have all the information of the shipping dates on the website in the description of the product. So if you guys want to know what this is all about, I want you guys to have a cool piece of clothing to wear and have clothes that you like to wear that represent us as automotive enthusiasts. But this goes towards finishing this project right here and keeping this car for life. I want to take on all the coolest roads in America and film the absolute craziest videos, travel around, meet you guys. And I want this to be the first car I go do that in, because it's like one of the sickest cars when it's all done, and I want all you guys to see it. So if you like that idea, you want to support the build, you want to see it get done quick, get done in the highest quality, we have all the parts, camera stuff we need to make everything cool for you guys to see. The best way to support is these pre-order opportunities like this. So go over to carverspeed.com, check out the shirt. If you like it, add it to cart, hit buy now, check out with Apple Pay, and then come back to this video and enjoy the process, and we'll get after it. The wide body's here, by the way. We already unboxed it. It's coming up very soon. It looks crazy. You guys are gonna enjoy it. So I'm going all out. I know you guys got me. This part you're looking at right here, Randall had to put back. He cut it out, said that he wished you didn't do that. So if you guys are out there doing yourself on your Impreza, don't cut all the way out like this. He ended up just welding it all back in. Seam sealer, the whole 9. If you haven't been around welding much, you kind of get everything in place and then you do what's called tack welds. You go around the area and do a little tack here, tack there, and it's just a tiny little weld that holds everything in place so that way you can focus and then do the beads, stack dimes, however you want to do it, depending on what kind of welding you're doing. And then right now we're putting in seam sealer. Then you use a little bit of a brush to kind of paint it around, and then you can paint over this and all that, so it won't be super, like, it'll look fine once it's all done. It's not very distracting like it looks right now. Blue tape holding the fender back to the actual fender, and then I'm using a hammer to push the metal in to make sure it's flush. Then Randall does his tack weld so everything's in place. Then you can remove the tape and then weld your way down. Bondo work next. If you've never been around this much, you kind of just stack it on a little bit thick and then you sand it down to the shape that you want. It's a patience game. Doesn't take that long to dry like you would think. You can use a palm sander like right now. You can use a sanding block by hand. You can just use your hand and some sandpaper. Lots of different ways to do Bondo and stuff like that. Mixing Bondo, you have the base and then you have a hardener, and then whatever color of hardener you use is what will end up turning the rest of the Bondo that color. So before it was red, now it's blue just because he switched up the hardener. It does the same thing. Once you mix it up, you have a little bit of time before it hardens, and it's really hard to move around, so you have to move kind of fast. Then some of these bigger gaps, Randall is using resin and some fiberglass. I've actually never been around this at all, so that was kind of fun to learn how that works. And then he uses some fiberglass in the upcoming episodes for some other areas in the back as well. So a lot of fiberglass around here and there to plug up some big holes to add structure, seal things off, and it looks really, really good. Checking out the final product. So why we did this is when you have a WRC kit, which means the fenders are a little higher, so you can have a little more room for play and suspension, maybe if you want to jump it, the whole nine. It's just a little bit tougher kit to make look good. You have to get pretty low with the car and the suspension. So what ends up happening is when you have a big wheel and tire setup, with the stock setup up here, your wheel rubs and hits and you can't really get low enough to make the kit look exactly ideal. As well, of course, if we want to catch some air with it, we need all the room in the front for suspension travel, because if the wheels turn a little bit and you come down, or just in general, when the suspension goes down, you want to have as much room up here as possible. Randall went ahead and spray painted this just to kind of give us an idea of it kind of blended in what it looks like, but now we have a ton of room up here, so that's exciting. Looks really, really good. I'm thankful for Randall's work. This is just the beginning of the Bondo and stuff, so nothing's really final, but it's really, really coming together. It's going to be interesting, kind of fitting everything with the STI motor up here. It's not going to be easy. There's not much room for activities up here in general. Before we even did this, fitting the radiator is going to be interesting and all the hoses, but now that we don't have all this room to play, it just adds a whole nother element that we're going to have to figure out. Of course, we're going to run the battery to the back, all kinds of things, but hopefully we can still fit a decent sized turbo stock location with an air oil separator over here. So we'll see what happens. We'll get it done, but I'm really pumped. This thing's looking like a beast, and it's starting to look custom, and I've never owned a custom car. So shout out to Randall, Bucky, my dudes, for helping me. This is going to be rad when it's done. Thanks guys so much for stopping by. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do so is to check out karmaspeed.com. Go grab a t-shirt, anything you like, and get some high quality apparel. As well as, don't forget the podcast channel, episodes every Wednesday. If you go to my channel, so if you click on my name, go to the channel, scroll down, you'll see the featured channels. There's all the stuff that you need. Cameron offered 2 extra stuff, podcast clips, and the Karma Speed apparel channel that goes with the website. So a bunch of resources there. I appreciate you guys, and hope you guys are excited about this build, because we're getting fired up.